Alexander, we have a Brexit update, and it looks like Corbyn has folded. It looks like May has folded. You were telling me before we started the show, Corbyn is now open to a second referendum. May looks like she will be going for that Article 50 extension. What happened?
Yes, let's go back a few days, because if you remember, I said that there would be that this creation of this centrist remainder group was intended to put pressure on Corbyn and May. Corbyn to get him to agree to a second referendum, and May to get her to agree to an Article 50 extension. The threat against both of them was that if they didn't, they would see more and more of their MPs defect from the Labour and Conservative parties to join the centrist group. I said that I thought it was a bluff, but I've also said I think actually on one of our lives that, one couldn't be completely confident with these two rather, shall we say, not very strong leaders, that they would be able to call this bluff. Well, it turns out they haven't called this bluff. They've each folded, though in characteristic ways. Jeremy Corbyn quite clearly doesn't want a second referendum. But in a meeting of his party's MPs on Monday, he committed himself to one. He's made it very unclear what the terms of that referendum are going to be, but it looks as if Remain is going to be an option. Theresa May has folded similarly. She's made it absolutely clear. In fact, she was still saying clearly yesterday in conversations to Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, that she opposed an Article 50 extension. She now says that she's going to leave it to MPs, and if they reject her deal, there will be an extension of about 3 months. So it looks as if, for the moment, this tactic has succeeded. Corbyn has now agreed to a referendum. Theresa May has agreed to an Article 50 extension. My guess is that there will still not be a referendum, a second referendum, because so many Labour MPs oppose it. And there's already a backlash against Corbyn within the Labour Party over this issue. But I think that an Article 50 extension, an extension of Brexit Day by 3 months, is now all but inevitable. And of course, that leaves open the prospect of more extensions to come, and it gives the Remainers more opportunities to press for a second referendum in the hope that this will reverse Brexit entirely.
I was just going to say that the 3-month extension can morph into another 3 months. And doesn't this give them time to flip more MPs to the Remain?
That's exactly what it does, and that's exactly what it's intended to do. That was the objective, and it's worked. I mean, Theresa May, as I said, of the two, I think the important thing to say is the more important climb down is that of Theresa May. I don't think there is going to be a second referendum. I don't think there's enough votes for it in the House of Commons. I don't think Jeremy Corbyn believes in it. I think he just had to do that. Or at least he thought he had to do that. I don't actually think he had to do it, but he thought he had to do it in order to hold his party together. By the way, I predict it will damage him in the opinion polls, with a lot of Leave voters who were inclined to vote Labour very angry. But the bigger, more important climb down is by Theresa May, because what Theresa May is now doing is she is for the first time giving significant ground in Parliament to the Remainers. She's conceded their demand that there has to be an extension, and I think that's now overwhelmingly likely to happen. I predict there will again be very great anger within the Conservative Party and very strong opposition. But it's very difficult to see how, having made this concession, she can now claw it back.
Alexander, can I display some of my skepticism? That the more this drags on, the more it looks like Brexit won't happen.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's the strategy, and that's exactly what it's all about. And your skepticism is entirely justified.
And if she gives into the, can I just say real quickly before you finish that thought, if she gives into the 3 months, which you're saying she has given into it, or it looks like she will, those 3 months, I would say if I had to put a bet on it, are going to lead to more extensions if they can't get the second referendum until they get their outcome. This is standard operating procedure of the European Union, is it not?
Exactly. That's the whole point. That's why you mustn't make concessions at all. You have to have a clear mind and know what you want if you go into negotiations with them, and stick to it. And possibly they will come round to you, or they won't. But if you start making concessions, all you're doing is you're throwing red meat to the wolf. Right. It won't go away. It will come back and demand more. And that is exactly what is happening. That's exactly what Theresa May has now done.
Are you pissed off about this? Are the people in the UK pissed off about this? What is the sentiment going forward now? I'm not in the UK and I'm pissed off about this because it is the same old story when you have a democratic vote and it doesn't turn the way of the integrationists, of the globalists, of the European technocrats in Brussels. They just figure out mechanisms to try to engineer that vote to go their way.
Well, that's exactly right. And that is exactly what I think. Can I make it very clear? I am somebody who believes in democracy. I believe elections and referendums and votes, which the public is consulted, should mean what they mean. If people voted Brexit, which they did in 2016, after a referendum, which they were told was binding, that was the duty of the political class to see that through. Instead, they have systematically sabotaged it. And they're continuing to do so. And you asked me if it makes me angry. It makes me very angry. And you asked me if it will make people in Britain angry. I think it will make a lot of people in Britain very angry. I think it'll make a lot of people in the Conservative and Labour parties very angry. But the question is, what will happen now? And I predict that, as I said, there will be further delays, or at least attempts to achieve further delays. And at the end of this process, what we will eventually see, if Brexit doesn't happen, is a revived UKIP led by Nigel Farage, probably not UKIP, but some new party, winning votes across England. But we will see what happens. It's going to create deeper division, deeper polarization in Britain. And of course, it is going to prolong this debate on Brexit, which that referendum in 2016 was supposed to settle.
And finally, Alexander, what do you think the guys in Brussels, the elites, the globalists, the technocrats, the bureaucrats in Brussels are thinking at this moment? Are they just sitting there laughing, giggling as to the chaos and the turmoil they're causing inside the UK government and the UK Parliament?
Absolutely. I think many of them feel that they got Britain on the run. And let's face it, they have. I mean, there's one person I blame more for this than anyone else, who is Theresa May, who shockingly mishandled the negotiations. But beyond that, the entire British political class, Conservative, Labour, Liberal, all of them, integrationists, the whole lot of them are at fault here. They have allowed the Brussels bandwagon to steamroller over them, right. and they've colluded in it. And
they shouldn't have allowed it, because if there's one country, and we've said this over and over in our videos, and we'll close with this, if there's one country that can weather the storm of leaving the European Union and come out of it a huge, monumental success, it is Britain.
Yes, and of course it's what people voted for, and we must never forget that. Britain has all the means to prosper outside the EU. It is the biggest. It is the country within the EU which has the strongest trading traditions. Of course, it can. It has a powerful financial system. It has the English language. It has many connections internationally. But transcending all of that, there is the fact that the British people voted for this. So the only logical, consistent, philosophically consistent thing to do, the only thing you should do if you are a Democrat, is carry out the mandate which you have been given by the British people. Not say, oh, this is so difficult, we can't implement it, and then go ahead and try to sabotage it, which is what has happened.
And the people voted for it, Alexander, because I believe the people, in their gut, instinctively, they know that the UK will be fine, if not better off, outside the European Union. The political class then does not believe in the potential of the UK. They don't believe it, or they're sold off to the globalist elitist powers.
Indeed so. And can I just make one quick observation? We're always hearing about, what a terrifying thing no-deal Brexit is. One group of people are not in the slightest bit terrified, and that is the British people. If you walk around Britain today, you see no sign of panic here as Brexit Day has been looming. People are not withdrawing money from their banks. People are not, ransacking the supermarkets and the stores and the department stores to, store up and hoard food in case it all runs out. They're not going to the pharmacist to, take out all the drugs and medicines that they need. There's no sign of panic here at all. The country is completely calm. The people, the British people, are far more understanding of this thing than their politicians are. We are a stable and calm country, completely let down and betrayed by our political class.
Well put, Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Guys, if you like this video, click on that subscribe button down below and click on that notifications bell to get notifications every time we push out a new video. Visit the Duran shop, pick up a t-shirt, help support the Duran. In the description box down below, you'll find links to our PayPal and Patreon pages. Please donate to us. That really helps us out a lot. And you can get a copy of this video in audio format. Follow us on iTunes and SoundCloud, and go to theduran.com, and you can read all the articles that Alexander is linking up to every day. Alexander Mercouris, Editor-in-Chief of the Duran. Thank you once again. Until next time, everybody, take care.